Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Badger Blitz TV. I'm Jake Kocorowski, senior writer at BadgerBlitz.com. Of course, part of the Rivals Network, bringing you everything you need to know about Wisconsin football, Wisconsin basketball, Wisconsin recruiting for both those programs. And it's Friday, so that means it's our game preview and game prediction show. We'll be joined by John McNamara in just a minute or so. Real quick, wanted to get to some basics about Wisconsin hosting number 9 Iowa inside Camp Randall Stadium. Of course, 11 a.m. kickoff tomorrow, October 30th. Camp Randall Stadium is the home of the game. Capacity 80,321. How to watch? If you're on TV, streaming, ESPN is the way to go. Of course, you can listen if you don't have the chance to listen or to watch on television. You can listen on the Badger Sports Radio Network. Also nationally on ESPN Radio as well. So some quick notes about Iowa, and for those that had a chance to, we had a great Q&A just a couple days ago with Tom Kakert from Hawkeye Report. Make sure you check out that beat writer Q&A as we dissect everything about the Hawkeyes. But a quick overview offensively: 28 points per game. Rushing yards, which is they're supposed to be a run-first offense. They're only 103rd in the FBS, 116.6 yards per game. They do pass for nearly 200 yards per contest. The big key for Iowa has been the turnovers and, of course, capitalizing upon them. 68 points off of turnovers, according to their stats. 39% on third down conversions, and they've allowed 18 sacks. So, of course, we know Wisconsin's defense absolutely loves to attack the ball, attack the ball carrier, but also go in the backfield and cause some havoc for opposing quarterbacks. And then for defense, looking at that, they are among the best in the FBS in terms of yards allowed or points allowed per game, 14.6. Same thing for rushing yards, under 90 yards per contest. That's 7th in the FBS. Under 3 yards per carry, Phil Parker's defense allows. They do allow about 211.3 yards through the air per outing. That being said, they're among the best in team passer efficiency defense. I think they're top 5 in that regard. Third down conversions about 37%, and they have gotten to the quarterback 15 times in terms of sacks. We are welcomed, of course, by our editor, recruiting analyst, publisher, John McNamara. And John, thanks for joining us on this Friday. And of course, it's going to be a big game, Wisconsin, Iowa. Not just the Heartland Trophy for this 95th installment of the rivalry, but there is a lot at stake in the Big Ten West division.
Yeah, you feel whoever comes out on top Saturday might have that inside track. And look, the Big Ten West just isn't very good. So it's probably going to be one of these two teams going off to face likely Ohio State. So, I think that after last week, it's kind of a shot in the arm where, look, a chance to play for a Big Ten title is still on the table. And, that's important. That's one of the goals that obviously Wisconsin has every year. And it didn't seem like that'd be an option just a couple weeks ago. But, look, if you come out on top on Saturday, you control your own destiny and potentially getting back to Indianapolis to play for a Big Ten title, which seems very odd in a season where there's been so much discussed about what needs to change, what's not working. A chance to play for a Big Ten title still on the table.
Absolutely. And it goes back to the defense, obviously one of the top 5 in the nation, in a couple of categories, top 10 for sure, probably overall. And then you have that running game that's reemerging, which is going to be quite interesting to see just how they do against Iowa. But we'll get into that in a little bit. What we do with these game previews, we like kind of dissecting. John and I will both go through our offensive and defensive key of the game, and then one Badger to watch that we'll be keeping our eyes on, keeping tabs on. So, John, your first one going on right now for the offense, touchdowns in the red zone is key to you right for this game.
Yeah, if you get in the red zone, which I don't know if both teams are going to be in the red zone very often on Saturday, just because of two very good defenses that are going to be at Camp Randall. So if you get in that red zone, I think Wisconsin has to leave with touchdowns as opposed to field goals. Easier said than done, obviously, and more specifically this year. But I just think that if Wisconsin's there, they got to get the ball in the end zone and capitalize on those opportunities. Obviously, you could say the same thing for Iowa, but when you're there, you can't turn the – I think you got to get in the end zone.
Yep, and folks see the picture right now of Braylon Allen going over the large pile of folks in the red zone. opportunity against Eastern Michigan, and they capitalized there. I guess, too, in my eyes, that's going to be key. And you've seen Wisconsin capitalize on those red zone opportunities in the past few weeks now. They're becoming more consistent there. You want more touchdowns, like you mentioned there, not just field goals. And we'll obviously see what happens on looking at that on on Saturday. But for me, my offensive key really is little to no turnovers for Wisconsin. And it is a big game. This is going to be a big challenge for Wisconsin. Obviously, this is the two teams that are very similar, right? You have Wisconsin very much wanting to run the ball. Iowa is a run-first offense. Both teams have stout defenses. It's going to be a physical battle. I don't know if you say looking in the mirror, but you would say they are very similar in terms of their tendencies and what they try to accomplish each game. That being said, one big difference this year has been the turnovers, and that's where Iowa ranks among the best in the nation when it comes to turnover margin. They have 21 takeaways. They've only coughed up the ball, I think, 9 times. It's a plus 12 margin. If you all are seeing the live stream right now, you're seeing Wisconsin, the picture from the loss to Notre Dame at Soldier Field, where obviously the wheels fell off in that fourth quarter and a lot of turnovers led to points for the Fighting Irish. And that cannot be done this week against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Like I said, they will not have Riley Moss, and we talked about that with Tom a couple days ago. Their leading cornerback, who leads the team in interceptions with 4, took back a couple for touchdowns. But you cannot allow Iowa to have sudden change opportunities. They have capitalized off of those. They have 68 points off of turnovers, according to their stats. So that will be something, in my eyes, to watch there, John. Let's switching over to the defense, though. In your eyes, what's the defensive key for you when Wisconsin hosts Iowa?
Yeah, I not give up that big home run play where Wisconsin's defense has been so dominant. I just think this is going to be a low-scoring, tight contest, and if they can avoid that big play where a wide receiver just gets behind the safeties, we saw a couple of those against Penn State. I just think if Wisconsin can avoid that game-changing or home run, or you could even call it a fluke play, I think that defense should be putting Wisconsin in a position to win it on Saturday. So avoiding that one miscue that could kind of turn what I anticipate to be a low-scoring contest is something that the defense needs to avoid on Saturday.
Yeah, and for me, with the defense, I think that's going to be key. And obviously, they've given up some of those big plays against Purdue, Notre Dame, Michigan, even Army with a couple of those big 35-yard throws. I think 2 throws over 35 yards against the Black Knights a couple weekends ago. For me, it's stopping Iowa's run game, and that's where it all starts. It's the MO for Wisconsin, and you'll see this in my pre-snap read on BadgerBlitz.com in written form, talking about you stop Iowa's run game, you're going to probably have a really good shot of beating Iowa. They like to run first. They like to establish the ground game. They have an All-American center in Tyler Linderbaum, which for folks that have watched this show this week, we had Matt Henningsen and Jack Sanborn talk about those two, that standout All-American, all Big Ten center for them. But they also have a decent back in Tyler Goodson, who leads the team in rushing, nearly 600 yards on the ground already this year, but only 4.3 yards per carry. Iowa as a whole is averaging just over 3 yards per attempt. You look at Wisconsin. This plays right into Wisconsin's hands. They're first in the nation in rush defense, allowing just over 53 yards per contest. They're holding opponents to less than 2 yards per carry. So to me, I think it's going to be a big matchup for the defensive line. It's going to be a physical game. We know this. It's not going to be probably offensively pretty by any stretch of the imagination compared to the rest of college football and what we see from other offenses. But I think it all starts with stopping on the first 2 downs for sure in the run game, and then on top of then just pinning your ears back and going after Spencer Petras, the Iowa quarterback. And again, Iowa's given up 18 sacks in 7 games. But John, let me talk to you with this too. In your eyes, we're going to go to Badgers to watch, so we'll pick one all together, or we'll pick one each, I should say, regarding this contest. Who, in your eyes, offense, defense, special teams, who's your Badger to watch?
Yeah, I'm going special teams. I'm going Andy Vunovich. I don't know. I don't know how many punts we're going to see on Saturday. I think it could be a lot. I don't know what the record is, but I think this is going to be a field position game where you're just kind of grinding, and it's going to be a low scoring game. So Vunavich is going to get some opportunities. I'm sure Iowa's punter is going to get some opportunities as well. So, if we're looking at a field position contest, special teams and the punter is going to be big, I think, in this game to give Wisconsin, or if you're an Iowa fan, you give Iowa some good field position throughout. So I'm going Andy Vunavich as my Badger to watch on Saturday.
Absolutely. For those that see the show, you see the picture of what we call a jacked punter. We had an article up on him on BadgerBlitz.com a few weeks ago talking about his routine and what he's gotten better at. He's one of the top 20 punters in yards per attempt this year, over 46. I know Iowa's punter, for that matter, is just behind him, for that matter, like 46.2. So it's going to be a battle of this. You're talking about, prime Big Ten matchup right here. Punting's going to be there, going to be a key there in my eyes. Also, for me, I'm going to say nose tackle Keanu Benton. We talk about Tyler Linderbaum, the All-American center from Iowa. We've boasted about and we've talked about what Keanu Benton can do, the junior nose tackle from Janesville, just in terms of how he can play and just how he could stand out, how he's affected plays with Wisconsin's defensive line philosophy changing a little bit when it comes to being more aggressive, penetrating instead of just eating up, gaps and whatnot. Benton and Matt Henningsen have exploded and have had really good years. The numbers for Benton necessarily aren't standing out. I think it's only a half a sack and maybe 1.5 tackles for a loss through 7 games, but he is making an impact in that backfield. He's causing some havoc for opposing offenses, and I think, in my eyes, it's going to be a key matchup. If he can stall out Linderbaum and allow Henningsen and the inside linebackers like Jack Sanborn and reigning Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week Leo Chanel, let them just flow to the ball and make plays, it's going to be a long day for Iowa's offense. And if not, that could be something where maybe Iowa can get a little bit going on that offensive side of the ball. So I guess going into that, finish up the show, John, game predictions, who you got for Saturday? Battle of the Heartland Trophy. I think it's a bull, not a pig, as Chris Orr said a couple of years prior. But who do you think comes out with the Heartland Trophy, the win, and potentially the keys, or I would say controlling their keys to the Big Ten West?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I went with Purdue last week and I was wrong. I feel like I want to go Iowa this week again. I could be wrong. I've said a low scoring contest a handful of times on here. I mean, maybe it's going to be a shootout on Saturday, but I like Iowa in a low scoring contest. I mean, I could see them winning 14-10. Again, Wisconsin's defense has been great. You've seen improvements on Wisconsin's offense. I think the offensive line is playing better. That unit's not great though. The running backs have been better. They're not. I don't know that they're great either. I just think that Iowa's going to put Wisconsin in a position where they have to throw the ball, and I just don't have a lot of confidence there. I see Iowa coming away with a 14-10 win at Camp Randall on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to say 14-10, but I'm going to say Wisconsin. I have the same concerns as you in terms of just what that offense can do. Tom mentioned in the Q&A on the, he thought Iowa was pretty good against the run. We'll see just how good they are against the run, and obviously the numbers back it up, but I do feel Wisconsin's gotten better on that offensive line in terms of run blocking, and you've seen Malusi and Allen make opponents pay. I think the defense will be good. The only key is the turnovers. If Wisconsin needs to hold back and contain coughing up the ball, and if they do that, they win. If they can create the 5 takeaways like they did against Purdue, I'm not saying they need to create 5, but if they create a few, that'll greatly help going forward for Wisconsin against Iowa. So I'll say 14-10, especially being at home. I think Wisconsin has the ability to take it home, but again, we'll just see, and that's why they play the game. What else do we have going on from Badger Blitz coming up, John? Obviously basketball, there's exhibition game tonight. There is obviously more recruiting going forward and so much more, new offers being sent out by the Wisconsin staff.
Yeah, it's kind of flip season on the recruiting front, and Wisconsin's working with some more scholarships now. When someone leaves, they open up a scholarship, and I think that in a recruiting class where you thought it could be 14, 15, maybe we're getting to 16, 17. So there's been some new offers at linebacker. Wouldn't be surprised if Wisconsin targeted a wide receiver to add to Anthony and
McIntosh.
Who's the kid
yeah, McIntosh. Yeah, Tommy McIntosh. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe that number goes to 3. So it's going to be an exciting finish, I think, down the stretch here for Wisconsin. Signing day, at least the early period, just a handful of weeks away. So like I said, I think this class is definitely going to grow, but just how much it's going to be interesting to follow because there's a lot of longtime names from the kids inside the state, and there's some new names that have popped up that the Badgers will try to get on campus and obviously try to earn a signature from in December for that early period. And then, like you talked about, Jake, football and basketball are running side by side right now. We'll have coverage tonight for Wisconsin versus Whitewater, and then obviously moving forward with everything going on at the Kohl Center. So busy time, potentially a new audience that we're speaking to on YouTube, and I hope we get some eyeballs on the website and we can have a chance to earn your business moving forward.
Absolutely. You guys, if you're part of BadgerBlitz.com, you can go to the Badgers Den, our exclusive forum. John's got a thread out there talking about Iowa, Wisconsin visitors. Anybody that's standing out real quick to you who could be visiting on the football side for Iowa, Wisconsin?
I think this weekend is not going to be as busy as past weekends. It sounds like November might be a little bit busier of a month. Some long-time targets, I think, going to be at Wisconsin in terms of potential walk-ons. Some guys in that 2023 class are expected to be there. You can find those names, and like you said, Jake, inside the Badgers Den. But I think some of the bigger guys in the 2022 and 2023 class who have yet to visit are planning on getting up there in November for the last kind of handful of home games for the rest of the fall.
Excellent. And appreciate John being on the show. Of course, we'll end it right here. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. It's free. Click that thumbs up button. Why? Because that helps us gain a little bit more clout, a little bit more exposure, and the subscribing. Obviously, we want to keep growing this YouTube channel. We love doing this. It's been a lot of fun in this new journey in the past couple of weeks. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. For John, it's at McNamara Rivals. Me, it's at JKoco, Koco. And of course, Badger Blitz at Badger_Blitz. And like us on Facebook, search Wisconsin Badgers on BadgerBlitz.com. Real easy to do, folks. Y'all enjoy the weekend. Be safe. Be well. We'll come back. We got a lot more next week. We got some more recruiting spotlights. We got a lot more Q&As. It'll be Rutgers week, so we'll break down more from the Scarlet Knights as Wisconsin head to Piscataway later on to start off the month of November. So y'all be well. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.